people, it's Tokes here from Watered Seed. Welcome to Watered Seed Talks. Please join in our conversation today as we discuss self-awareness. Now, apart from the external factors which we come across in life, I believe it is important to be aware of our abilities, our strengths and our weaknesses. So join us. Let's dive in. Okay guys, so I started this video about 4 hours ago, but then I had kids drama. So well, thank goodness they're in bed now. So now let's talk about self-awareness. Now, I wanted to talk about this because again, on my journey to self, this was something that I had to do. And I thought it would be great to share that with you as well. But first, before like everything else, when I talk about self, let's define self-awareness. But before I start, now self-awareness is the third episode in regards to our self series. So first there's a video on my journey to self, and then there's another video on self-image, and now this is the third video on self-awareness. So please feel free to click below to find out those videos. Now let's start with self-awareness. Now first, what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is an honest awareness of our strengths and our weaknesses. And I know that sometimes we don't always know this, but part of the journey to self is understanding what our strengths and weaknesses are. Because I believe that I know there are some external factors out there that limits us from fulfilling the goals that we need to fulfill in this life. But I also think that some of it is based on our failure in being aware in regards to the things that we like and the things that we don't. Because imagine if we went on a journey only to come back to where we started, to realize rather than being on that journey, all we needed was really right in front of us. We shouldn't have been on that journey. But because we're not aware, we miss those things. So I want to talk about the things that helped me to realize and almost improve the awareness of myself, and the people that are impacted, or more like what it impacted. So first, the 3 reasons why I believe that we all need to be self-aware is in regards to our relationships. Now this is relationship in regards to our marriage, if we're not married, in regards to our friends, and just again if we're young adults in regards to school, and for our girls again is in regards to the playground. So being self-aware helps us to improve our relationships with the people around us, because it helps us to stop, think and reflect. Because every time we do something to other people, being self-aware allows us to actually look at the situation from a very subjective point of view. Not if we're right, but what if no one's right? Just looking at the full picture. Now I'll discuss this later, but so number 1 is to build better relationships. Number 2 is to help in our future ambitions. So if we're self-aware, we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, we know the things that we like and the things that we don't. So when we decide what career or what ambitions we want to be, we choose the things that we're definitely really good at. We don't have to choose the things that we're not very good at. So the importance is that if we know how much strengths we are from an early age, it helps us to make better decisions in the future. Now the third thing I think in regards to self-awareness is it also helps in regards to how we are influenced by other people. Because the moment we're self-aware, there's a limitation to how much influence that people could have on us. So because again, it comes down to we're just very aware. So to now go down into today's conversation in regards to the things that we can do to help us be more self-aware. For me, the first thing was to avoid self-deception. What do I mean by self-deception? Now this happens to all of us, where things go wrong, and rather than look at the full picture of everything that's gone wrong, we say to ourselves, that person is at fault. We never actually really look within ourselves to say, was I at fault? Did I do something wrong? And this happens on the road so many times when we're being cut off by another car. Yes, most times it could be other people's fault, but sometimes it's our fault as well. Or when we've had a disagreement with a friend, we've fallen out, and we think it's all about them. They're the ones who've done something wrong. We haven't done anything wrong. And so the ability to avoid self-deception helps us to actually look at the true picture, an honest picture of what has happened, and to ask ourselves the right questions to say, am I really in the wrong, or was I part of the wrong? And in that way, we don't feel so sorry for ourselves, or we don't feel so angry with the other person. We come to a balance, we come to a medium. So by being aware of the fact that we can easily decept ourselves, it helps us to actually look at things more subjectively. That's the things that I did that helped me, because I started to look at things not from just my point of view, from other people's point of view as well. Now, the number 2 that I had to do was introspection. What is introspection? Introspection is when we take a minute and we look within ourselves. We actually start to ask ourselves in regards to, what am I? Why do I like to do these things? Or why have I done these things? Again, it comes down to different scenarios that happens in our lives, and where we have to really think deep and ask ourselves, well, why is this impacting me in this way? I mean, it could be in relation to a friend. Sometimes we have friends that impact us in different ways, or they don't sometimes respect us. They make us feel really lonely and bad about ourselves. Now, it's not their fault that we feel that way. We need to do some digging. We need to have some introspection from within as to why those people have that kind of effect on us, or have that kind of effect on us. So introspection helps us to kind of dig deep. Take a minute, dig deep, read a book, sometimes take a moment out from all your activities in the day and just think about situations and why they happen to you and what triggers those situations. That really helped me to just single out, subjectively, just look at situations in my life and see why I was feeling that way about them and what would help me to make them feel better. Now, number 3 is we need to understand the origin of our desires, because sometimes the things that we want are not really what we want. We want them because other people want them. And so on our journey to being self-aware, when we understand the origin and the truth behind what we really want, it makes everything clear for us. It just creates almost like a crystal clear screen to think, wow, this is why I've been struggling with this, because it's really not my desire, it's another person's desire. So these are conversations that we try to have with the girls to make them understand that on this journey to self, we need to really be aware as well. It's part of the journey. We need to be aware of our strengths, we need to be aware of our limitations, and it all kind of comes down into one whole factor. The different aspects of the journey to finding ourselves, that eventually it becomes, a whole picture. Everything fits in. So there isn't just one thing that we need to do. We don't always just have to have self-respect or self-esteem. We also have to work to have self-awareness. And the awareness bit comes from just honesty. We really just have to be honest with ourselves in regards to the things that we struggle with and the things that we don't. Because the more we lie to ourselves, the more we fail at all of those things that we do. Because naturally, my friend could be doing something and I could feel like I was as good as doing that thing, but really maybe I'm not as good as her. And it is in that honest conversations with ourselves that we become aware to say, you know what, they're good at that. That's their calling. That's not my calling. And we just have to be happy with it and then find our path in regards to what we're really good at. That's what our mission is. That's what our vision, our purpose, as to why we're here. So guys, for today, this will be the end of our conversation on self. Now in the future, I'll be saying more about self-esteem and self-respect as we go along. But for now, we're going to pick up different topics to discuss. I've had some suggestions, so I will pick those topics as we go along. If you have any questions, let us know. You can subscribe as well and leave your likes and comments. Would appreciate that to see how our conversation is going. We hope you've enjoyed it. I better run off before one of the kids wake up. Okay, bye.